Hi, welcome to this part of my review featuring postcards from Avalidad. If you haven't seen the other parts of this review featuring this future noir setting, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the Dramatis Personae. This is the gallery of non-player characters within this setting. Some of the personalities here are meant to be used as non-player characters, but others can be chosen by players as player characters, but some of their background details and stats should be balanced according to the sort of campaign that you are running. I would recommend that you create player characters instead, because the background details, the agendas, the objectives of these non-player characters are perfect to keep the players in the dark as you are running the campaign. I am going to talk about the physical description, some details concerning the background, and some adventure seats. And just a small warning before we start, this part of the review, as all of the other parts, is going to contain spoilers. We start with Hisashi Takeda. Takeda is a sexagenarian Japanese man who dresses in a fashionably conservative way. He is very fit for his age and has a penetrating, almost frightening gaze. He talks very little, and in a calm but very persuasive way. Hisashi Takeda is the chairman of the board of directors of a major corporation, Takeda Technologies. Although based in Tokyo, Takeda is represented in several countries worldwide, the USA, England, France, Germany, and Sweden among those. Traditionalist as he is, Takeda has no use for the artificial augmentations and performance enhancement drugs produced by his companies. He is, however, fond of gadgets. He tries every contraption coming from Takeda Technologies and subsidiaries at least once. When it comes to adventure seats, word of Takeda's betrayal reached Kobayashi's ear long ago, but he just let it go for a while. His empire has lots of problems to deal with. This is just another one. Then we have Miriam Jeannette. She is a tall, slim, graceful, lovely woman, but also shy and with a permanent sad look on her face. Since Takeda took her as his lover, she became even more introverted. She is 28 years old. It was in the Nexus nightclub that Takeda met his second concubine, the French Miriam Jeannette. Miriam was not desperately looking for a man to support her. She was just trying to survive after a miserable adolescence in her native country. She does not appear to be a happy woman, and she is addicted to narcotics, but tries to keep her drug habit concealed. When in Avalidad, she resides in Takeda's penthouse. When it comes to adventure seats, though she always seemed shy and obedient, Miriam has only been hiding her true self. She despises Takeda for how he treats her as a mere object. Then we have Dr. Bentley, Dr. William Bentley. Tall and slim, Bentley has dark brown hair and a handsome face. He dresses according to the occasion, but mainly in an extravagant but tasteful way. His presence is imposing, not just because of his physicality. His charisma turns him into the center of attention everywhere. He is almost 60 years old, but looks much younger. Dr. Bentley is, paradoxically, an enigmatic and famous personality. 20 years ago, he was an eminent scientist, professor, and investigator who achieved almost pop star quality fame thanks to his excessive private life. Just like many doctors today, Bentley is engaged in extremely illicit and unethical practices. Some conjectured he might even be testing new and more efficient methods of torture when employed by dictators. Concerning adventure seats, Dr. Bentley discovers two pieces of technology that enable the machinatores to operate and move freely between our and other dimensions. Then we have Eva Borges. Eva is tall, athletic, and a bit rough and muscled, but still good looking at 37 years old, in a rugged kind of way. She wears her dark hair long, but shaved on the sides. Eva usually dresses in denim and leather jackets. Eva's parents, Evangelos and Indira, were scientists, mediocre ones, easily influenced but highly ambitious, recruited by a South American eco-terrorist organization, the Gaia's Warriors, or Los Guerreros de Gaia, in the original. Shortly after they finished their studies, they wanted to save the planet from the human species. Since they were both unfit for work in the labs, they were assigned to smuggling operations. Not long after that, Eva was conceived with the sole purpose of making her parents appear less suspicious, like a real family. Eva eventually joined the gang, and from then on, lived a life of crime that later took her to Avalidad, leading a smuggling operation. And after many twists and turns in her life, she eventually joined Zone Sec's Special Operations team. When it comes to adventure seats, missing for decades, Eva Borges' mother, Indira, finally gets in contact with her daughter, but for the worst kind of reason. She is still running away from her former terrorist organization, Los Guerreros de Gaia. And then we have Anastasia. She is a beautiful and virtual blonde with green eyes. She appears either as a face image or a head and torso, dressed accordingly to her mood at the time, and speaks in an Eastern European accent. Anastasia is a proto-AI assistant, ordered from Finnegan Jones, a programmer who custom-built it from intelligence personality course obtained by Aziz Crow, after calling in some favors from a few corporate and underworld contacts. Anastasia's nuclear personality was modified from that of the original, and the core programming and software applications were rewritten to custom-suit Crow's specifications. She is very inquisitive and curious, and will almost inevitably ask Crow for the reasons for any request and try to obtain the most information possible. Her personality developed to be lively, but she adapts her behavior to a sober attitude when necessary. She responds only to Crow and Ka-Athrin, and generally refuses to perform commands from any other person. When it comes to adventure seats, when another non-player character by the name of Francis Lanyard turns into a transhuman entity and frees himself from physical restraints, Anastasia, being one of the most advanced proto-AI in existence, may be tempted to join him. And these are just some of the many personalities belonging to different factions that you will encounter in this setting book of Postcards from Avalidad. This concludes this part of the review. In the next part we are going to talk about the setting itself, that is, the government of Avalidad, the law enforcement, the criminal activity, etc. When it comes to this gallery of non-player characters, I definitely think that they are quite interesting and detailed, but when it comes to the images, sometimes they don't make too much sense. Sometimes the background information or the physical description mentions some detail about the character, and the photographs do not match that description. So you will have to visually fill in the gaps, so to speak, when you are reading the description of a non-player character and you show that image. When the description says something like, that character has a beard, and you take a look at the image and the man in the photograph does not have a beard, you will have to clarify that. But overall, the stats, the background information, and the adventure seats make sense. There is coherence between the history, the personal history of the characters, what they are about to do, what they are searching for, what they are looking for, and how they are capable at doing different tasks or things according to their stats. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.